Is there anything else you need? Are you good?
No, I'm just gonna take off my
Is there anything else you need, sir?
cardigan.
No.
All right, it's game time. We are officially live, but we're not officially podcasting. This is pre-pod. Welcome to pre-pod, Gabi.
Pre-pod. Thank you for having me.
Pre-pod, where we just give our listeners and our followers and our viewers 5 minutes to come on in.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
My wonderful host didn't tell me we had to get ready.
Yeah, Jay, why you ain't tell her that she had
Today, I am the second co-host. It's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
Was not.
Jay's really good about a lot of that stuff, so I just kind of like.
I mean, it could be worse, right? I could have baby throw up on me.
That'd be a lot.
That would have been hilarious.
So when I used to do my podcast, it was all just show up and talk, and that's just how I function naturally. But this podcast is a little heavier than that. It's got a lot more going on, so I gotta get used to it. You know what I mean?
No. I mean,
you should do a podcast.
I don't even know how to keep a conversation longer for like 5 minutes.
That's not true. I've talked to you.
Yeah, but I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you talk to people you know. You ain't gotta talk to strangers. You can just talk to somebody you know. Talk to somebody you can talk to Rhonda. You and Rhonda would be ridiculous on the podcast.
Yeah, it probably would be really bad, and it probably won't have any of the conversations finished just because of how bad we jump from conversation to conversation.
Get your shares up.
Oh yeah,
Future.
I be trying to get Future. What you talking about?
Oh
no, share. Gotta share the podcast. I be trying to get Rhonda on here, but she won't do it.
She won't.
Nah.
Why?
I don't know. I think she thinks that
I'm boring, so I'm surprised I even agreed to this.
She don't like listening to me talk off the podcast, so she don't want to listen to me talk on the podcast.
I'm pretty boring, so
I don't believe that.
I don't think I don't really have much going on in my life, so
I think you have an interesting insight, though.
He think I had insight.
And like when you be talking about your history and stuff like that, and how your mind works, I'd be like,
My mind?
yeah,
I'd be wondering how it works.
You're a wild person.
but sensible and thoughtful.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The crazy shit.
It's an interesting combination.
It's very.
You're a werewolf, basically. You're a cancer,
very,
right?
on the brink of a meltdown, but how can I plan this meltdown?
Yeah, let's avoid the meltdown.
No, but like everybody has to have a meltdown, right? I've had like about 3 of them.
3 meltdowns this year? 3 in general? As long as you don't kill nobody, it's fine.
Y'all make sure y'all grab your drinks, grab whatever you're smoking on. We're about to get started in a couple minutes. Got 2 minutes to get everyone in here. If you're in here right now, share the live for us. We have a real interesting conversation tonight that we're excited to talk about. And we're looking forward to having the conversation.
Going down in 1 minute. Am I tagged in it?
I just shared it. I didn't tag it. It should be I can go ahead and do it right now, though.
You on Facebook?
Yeah.
I don't really see you on Facebook like that.
Do you even have me on Facebook?
I don't think I feel like I do.
I only have one person.
You don't even do anything on Facebook, though.
No,
right?
I do a lot of shit talking on Facebook, actually. A lot.
So,
Enough that Mark, what's his last name? Zuckerberg or
Put you
whatever.
on Facebook jail.
Yep. I've been on that shit like 5 times already. I'm surprised my account isn't suspended.
I've never had.
But it's because you can't say men is the devil or men are the devil.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah.
Because it's against religion policy on there. You can't say men ain't shit.
A lot of stuff you can't say anymore.
You can't talk bad about a particular group of people. Is that what?
Remy, let's do this thing, man.
All right.
There's a lot of things you can't say on there.
All right. Let's do a podcast. Oh, I guess I got to do the thing.
Yes, sir.
Ready, set, go.
Podcast. I'm Jay Noetic.
I'm Remy Mulatto.
I bring the content.
I bring the motherfucking chaos.
And with that, we believe the best way to have truthful conversations
is to have mostly everybody talking honestly over drinks.
And that's what we call a motherfucking method. Hey, man, welcome to another episode of a Method Podcast. We are ready to do this thing. We back. Wherever you're listening from, we appreciate you. If you're listening, if you're watching live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitter, we appreciate that. If you're watching the pre-post on Spotify, iTunes, welcome.
So my first guest that I've invited to this podcast, probably not my first.
Is your first? I'm about to say, I don't think it's your first.
Maybe it's my favorite because Gabi is one of my favorite people. And I like, are you, is it Dr. Gabi? It's not Dr. Gabi,
no,
right?
It's
so
not.
you're a medical professional.
Yeah, I'm a medical professional.
And some of the stories that you told me make me feel like, yeah, we'll get to it. But I brought you on because you have a lot of experience with bringing children into the world, and as of recent, they're trying to bring a lot of unwanted children into the world. Right?
Correct.
That's the idea.
Ugh.
That's going to be the method message that we're talking about.
Yes.
So we'll get there. So
Yeah.
So welcome, Gabi. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry I didn't fully prep you for what we're about to do, but you know what I mean. Like,
But
it's
you're
gonna be a
here.
good
It's
time
going to
either
be
way.
fun. Did you say hello to the method heads?
Hi everyone.
All right. So before we do any of that, we got to go over a couple other things. What are we drinking on tonight, though? What are we drinking on this week?
I'm sipping on a little Tito's handmade vodka. What does that mean?
Hold on, you just doing it straight? You ain't mixing it?
All I do is drink it straight.
Bruh.
Come on, you knew?
Vodka,
You knew
though?
this podcast?
Vodka
Yes,
straight?
this ain't new.
Kidneys and livers
Vodka is not
are
supposed to be drank
asking
straight. I
for
don't
water.
think. I think whiskey's supposed to be drank straight.
I drink everything straight.
And scotch
I
and
drink
rum.
everything
Wow. What you sipping on?
Pink Moscato.
That strong stuff. Sipping on that
It's
strong
good,
stuff.
good. Now, is Pink Moscato white or red?
It's considered
It's a
white,
white.
wine for sure.
Yeah.
They-
I'm sipping on a little bit of Moscow Mule, kinda. It's a vodka ginger beer without the little squirt of lime, but that's just what we do. So we always do the way we kick this thing off. We kick it off with a thing called the Method Movie. Remy, over to your left, Method Movie.
That's the movie.
All right, so Method Movie. I am just gonna play a clip from a random movie that I chose. You get to try to guess the name of the movie. Your goal is to try to guess it before Remy. Remy's going to try to guess it before you. And obviously, Method Heads, you want to guess it before them.
You watch a lot of movies, Gabi?
No.
No. All right.
Ooh.
We're gonna
So
see.
this should be
We're
easy.
gonna see.
I think I'm a stump. Remy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What movie is this?
I'm slamming it tonight. You guys are dead in the water.
I don't get to see a clip.
Nope, it's audio.
You gotta listen.
Shit. The water boy.
Nope.
20 minutes late, man. What the fuck is that?
It's bowling.
Theodore.
Is it the Big Lebowski?
Damn, it is the Big Lebowski. How the hell?
The bowling.
So-
you gotta do a different scene.
There's a lot of bowling movies out there. Have you seen the Big Lebowski?
I have watched it one time, yeah. And the thing I remember is bowling.
That must be the most popular scene in the Big Lebowski. That's crazy that he got that.
Yeah, that's. I thought that as soon as I heard the fucking.
I would have never guessed that. I'm sorry. I thought I was gonna stump him.
The only bowling thing I know is from the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends,
Oh,
and
that's
they
bowling.
bowl in it. The bowling episode.
Oh wait, that's a TV show.
It's a TV show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you definitely.
I'm
do you
not.
even know? Do you know the movie? The
I
Big
don't
Lebowski?
even think so.
So the
Do
Big
you know-
When
Lebowski
it come out?
1998 is when it came out.
Do you know? Have you ever watched Roseanne?
You know
Do
John
you know the
Goodman.
show Roseanne?
No.
All right, so
You do know I was
We're not
born
going
in
back to that.
1997, right?
Yeah.
Like
But I was born. You were born when?
1997.
Damn. Damn.
I
All right, well, it's
just
okay.
turned 25.
So the Big Lebowski has Jeff Bridges. You know who Jeff Bridges is?
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know any
Okay,
actor's
Yes.
name by name.
that's all right.
Is-
Jeff Bridges,
Do you know Brad Pitt?
John.
Yes, but I get.
do you know
George-
Johnny Depp?
I get George Clooney and Tom Cruise confused
That's
Mm.
hilarious.
all the time. all the time.
Hey, they're just two white actors. That's fine. It's not
Yeah.
white male actors.
So when they talk about that one movie, the one that Tom Cruise is in, the Mission Impossible,
Mm.
I've never seen any of those movies, and I think George Clooney does them.
Oh, he's great in
Wow.
those actually. George Clooney is awesome in Mission Impossible.
Is Tom Cruise in it?
It's
No.
Tom Cruise. It's all Tom Cruise.
So then Big Lebowski is Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, and Steve Buscemi, who I know from HBO's Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
So I guess the conversation for this will be between you and I. Who has had the better career? Jeff Bridges, John Goodman, or Steve Buscemi?
Steve Buscemi, probably.
Buscemi, I think.
Yeah, I think I would say Buscemi for sure.
Really? You think
Yeah.
you think he's had a better one than Jeff Bridges?
Mainly, what has he done?
Well, he was the voiceover for Iron Man. He did True
The
Grit.
voiceover for Iron Man.
Well, he was in Iron Man, but he did True Grit, which he won a Emmy for.
Maybe
or
that's
Oscar.
what it is. I can't distinguish him in that movie from who he's been in other movies.
Well, he's
I
in
would
the-
see that character.
Steve.
He's in a good show right now. Huh?
How does he look?
Have you ever seen Boardwalk
He's
Empire?
old and white.
They're
Is
all
he
white
the one
men.
that was in Spy Kids?
Don't
Was he
ask
like
me
a
that.
firefighter in like 9/11?
No clue. No clue.
You asking about stuff way
Yeah.
outside of our generation.
I know one of the actors. I think it's him, maybe not, but there is an actor that was who used to serve for the firefighters, and he helped out in 9/11. I think it was him.
I don't know.
I need to see a picture of him.
Maybe later.
Yeah.
All right, Remy. Well,
I think
congratulations.
you made that up.
You won. You won that.
I didn't
Justin,
mean to win. I was
Justin
gonna
said
let
Buscemi.
the audience do it, but I just said
well,
it.
let's just keep it moving. That's what we're gonna do. You are champion again.
I
I'll try to
appreciate
stump you again next week. Let's get into the Method Weekly, man. The Method Weekly. I'm
that. Cheers to the champion.
gonna stump you one of these days.
One of
Method
these
Weekly.
days.
Let's go, brother.
All right.
So the Method Weekly, basically, we're going to talk about some things that's been in the news as of lately. So I don't know if y'all heard or not, but R. Kelly is engaged to be married to one of his alleged victims, Jocelyn Savage. At least that's what she's saying in the letter to the judge. And her family says they had no idea. Apparently, they haven't talked in years. What are your thoughts on this engagement? R. Kelly being engaged to one of his alleged victims.
Now, this person definitely was not in Surviving R. Kelly, right?
I didn't
Jocelyn?
watch it.
I didn't watch it either.
But
Jocelyn Savage.
yeah, no, she was.
She was.
Yeah.
She was.
So she didn't testify they were engaged to be married. She wrote a letter to the judge asking for a lenient sentence for R. Kelly, saying he is an excellent husband to her.
This is the same R. Kelly that allegedly escaped
Yes.
from prison.
Well, he ain't escaped. He's still in jail. He gonna be in jail for life.
Right.
Well,
30 years, isn't it?
he was
You get
just
30
on the
years?
news
Yeah.
again for allegedly escaping.
Mm-mm.
You thinking of somebody else?
R. Kelly didn't escape. Can't escape prison.
I mean, you could. but
No,
he
I
didn't.
saw it on Facebook, and you know, Facebook
No,
doesn't
no,
lie.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah,
Don't believe that. Yeah, he didn't escape, but he's definitely he got sentenced to another 30 years. I just think it's weird that what state of mind is she in? You know, is she in a good state of mind where she is willing to say that he has been good to her?
It could be one of those like Stockholm syndrome type of situations too.
Right.
It
For
could be.
Yeah. If you got a history with somebody,
It's definitely probably
even though
one
it's
of those things.
inappropriate history.
How
you know
long
what
does
I'm
it
saying? They could
last
still
though?
be-
Because it's been years now since
It
that's
takes
been
a
done.
lot. It's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of therapy that they have to go through.
Yeah,
We
maybe.
see it a lot too with moms that come in who are pregnant at 16
Mm.
and baby daddy's 20, 23.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't really fault her for that. I mean, R. Kelly is kind of goofy for being R. Kelly.
I mean, at this point, she's a grown ass woman, though.
Right.
I mean, she's not a little girl. She's not a teenager.
She's a grown ass woman, but her trauma doesn't escape her. She's still,
I ain't gonna argue against that.
Yeah.
That is true, especially if she hasn't done the work to get healed or have,
How
Right.
old was she when she first got with him too?
I feel like
think
she was like 17
Yeah,
or
no,
something.
his range was like 16, 13, 14.
Because that's still a
16.
child, though. That's
Oh yeah,
still a
100%.
child.
I think most people are still children, even if you're 19, 20, 21, because your mindset is just different. Like, men
You
not
don't know
look, you
shit
might
about
not,
the
you might
world.
not look like you're a child,
You don't know shit about.
but you don't know
Wait,
shit.
you 20?
I'm 25.
Yeah, see, you don't know shit about.
But
the
you
world.
see, when I got with my daughter's father, I was 19.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Did you feel like you had things figured out back then?
I mean, I was a college student, so I thought I was figuring all my shit out. And here I was eating peanut butter sandwiches for dinner. 'cause
Listen,
that was
peanut butter
before.
jelly sandwiches and chicken noodle.
See,
With the ramen noodles.
I mean,
Or ramen with cheese on top of it.
Mhm.
in reality, we all just need to stay in the house till we about 30.
100%. At least 20, at least 26, 27.
I think a lot of it, though, a lot of my development came, my history, as Remy knows, came a
Check the
lot
comments.
from my early to now. I'm still learning.
We're
I think
all-
everybody's
We're
still
always still learning. It's never going
I-
to stop. So who is Lake Bell? Do you know who Lake Bell is?
No.
learning. No.
I don't know who she is either, but apparently she's dating Chris Rock.
Okay.
Okay.
Shout out to Chris Rock. I bet she bad.
She-
She
I mean,
bad.
she's a white girl, white woman. Kristen Cross back over to the white side.
I mean, he's done his
Was
his
it
due
dude-
diligence.
was it-
Didn't he marry a black woman? He has some black kids.
I think he married a black woman.
right?
Got some
I feel
black
like
kids.
if you marry a black woman and you had some black kids, you allowed to step out for a little while. You know what I mean?
But you know what they're gonna say is that
You've done your
another black man leaving black women behind, or
But
color
he's divorced.
women of
It's
color
fine.
behind.
He's divorced. It's fine.
Hey,
Like, if you ain't about to have kids, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying?
here's my thing. Sometimes you gotta try something different, right? Like, I ain't gonna knock him for it. I mean, I've thought about dating outside my race. I've fucked outside my race, but I ain't never dated outside my race. But I thought about it because, I've dated nothing but black women and Latino women my entire life. Now I'm still single, so maybe it's time to try something a little different. But I'm not sure about that yet. So
You said Latino
mhm,
people.
Hispanic?
So
Listen.
you dating men?
No.
No.
You said Latino.
Well, I mean Hispanic women.
You ain't say
Yeah.
Latina.
Well, yeah, I didn't say Latina, but
See, that's how.
that's how they try to catch you, man.
Yeah, they be trying
Trying to catch you.
Latinas.
So y'all cool with Chris Rock dating Lake Bell, who I do not
I'm
know.
cool with everybody doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's none of my business.
Okay.
Except for R.
You
Kelly.
know,
I'm glad y'all said-
Except for that
I'm not cool with what R.
motherfucker.
Kelly was doing.
I'm glad y'all said
But
that
everybody else.
because Kevin Gates, y'all know who Kevin Gates is.
Yeah.
I know you know who Kevin Gates is. That's your
I don't
generation.
listen to him, but I know of
he
him.
got like 6 jobs.
Listen,
I think he's just been on the news recently with one of his baby mamas, right?
I think so because they broke up or something.
Yeah, they broke up and it got like messy or something.
Yeah,
I don't keep up with that. I've already have.
but he recently said something else.
Oh,
Kevin Gates. Did.
Kevin Gates said he found out he was sleeping with his cousin and said he wasn't going to stop.
what? In sweet
What's your thoughts on that?
Alabama?
Okay. If it happens by chance, and
If you're already doing it,
if you already doing it,
in reality, ain't nobody really stopping.
like you've already
That's
done
just the
it.
first cousin,
No.
second cousin, but it's like my fifth, sixth cousin. And you tell me that's my sixth cousin, bruh. I ain't stopping. I'm just gonna be honest. I ain't
I mean, if
stopping.
you already doing
You've
it,
already doing it. You've already
I'm not
doing
saying
it.
I don't know
Now
how
listen.
genetics and blood diseases work.
Sure, we do. But six
we're
cousins.
not gonna. I mean, obviously now we're not gonna have children, but I don't know.
I don't know. I come from a big Hispanic family where first cousin, second, third, first,
Yeah.
they all do it, and you see a lot of it in their feet too.
Mm.
Deformities, like you see
Mhm.
one toe is like significantly
Too
short.
close
What's
to
a
being
toe?
there too
It's
close.
just
It's
a toe.
a
It's
toe.
fine.
But like,
Fuck
I mean,
that
there's
toe.
a lot of
It's
stuff.
far enough removed. Just you gonna have like one nostril gonna be bigger than the other.
think
It's fine.
any type of situation where it's like talks about cousin, I'm like, because I've had
Yeah.
a whole growing up. You need to marry your cousin for papers.
Mm.
He's
I-
just gonna have to stay over there.
Oh.
I remember.
I think it's disgusting.
Listen, I remember hearing about a case on the radio. It was a few years ago where everyone started doing the DNA testing, right? And this one person, this one girl, she did DNA testing, and it turned out that. So she was adopted,
Okay.
but she didn't know that she had a brother.
Oh no.
And so she was dating this guy for years, married and everything. Did the DNA test. Turns out the guy she married was her brother. What do you do in that case? You're in love. You got a family.
They wrote a book about that.
You know, like it's like you just gonna throw it all away.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
I mean, yeah.
I think if you,
I think it's one of those things, but you just have to know you cannot be in a relationship with your brother.
You're gonna give up all that love, your love, and
if you,
Hey, there's
a happy
motherfuckers
life.
out
You got
in
a
the
happy
world.
life going on right now.
I feel like the way that I am, if I'm in something, I'm
not saying you should leave or shouldn't leave. I think most people would probably leave, but
I would.
Think about you in love. Your life is happy. You have everything you ever wanted.
I don't know. I mean, I think just the risk in
but-
itself was or is at that point would give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I guess once it's in your
You
mind,
could
it's
be in that
weird.
one town with
Something
that
weird
one
about
guy that went on the Netflix series who inseminated about like 90
Father something.
Yeah.
Our father.
Our father. Yeah.
You could be in the town like that. That's what they were concerned about because there were siblings popping up from like a block down.
They had hundreds. They had hundreds.
So you could be in a situation like that,
Mhm.
and then that's not your fault.
Right.
But like you being adopted and you not knowing, that's still not your fault.
Most
but
of us
if you
are.
find out and you still do it, then you're sus.
Most of us are related.
If you like are invested in it,
How invested are you to be with your brother?
Married?
if you've already had sex with that person with no condom.
Married?
If you have already
you
had
didn't
sex with
know
that person with no condom,
You didn't know that until after. How invested are you still into your marriage?
You pretty invested if you married.
It would have. I would have to take you to court. I'm sorry. You could keep the child too. I just don't.
Damn,
I wouldn't know.
That's crazy. That's fucked up. Single father. All right, Remy, let's get into the message, man.
Shout out to them though.
So this week on the method heads, we going to talk about Roe versus Wade was overturned 3 weeks ago on June 24th, leaving it up to states to determine abortion laws. I guess the first question we should ask the table is, where do y'all stand on abortion? I don't think we need to go back and talking about the Roe versus Wade, but focusing more on just abortion topic first.
Okay. Well, I personally believe that abortion is your health care. It's a fundamental right. It saves lives. It does. Not only that, it leaves a lot of unwanted children out of already of an unwanted system because
you mean like adoption or something like that? Yeah, foster care.
Adoption's very expensive for a family to go through. It's very expensive. So abortion definitely does save a lot of lives, and abortion isn't just you going to Planned Parenthood either. It's a lot of there's a lot of terms for abortions to cover ectopic pregnancies. We have unwanted pregnancies from rape, incest, human trafficking. And not only that, abortion could also cover IVF, fertility treatments too. So abortion isn't just you had sex and you didn't want the baby or you had sex. It's a lot of factors that go into it. It's a lot of mom's health that goes into it.
I never thought about the fact that it does save lives. I think most people probably think about it that it's taking a life, right? But it is true. It does save lives.
So
hold that thought. What's your thought on abortion?
I think it's dope.
Come on, you gotta say more than that.
Everybody should get one abortion at least, just one time. Just get somebody pregnant, and if you need an abortion, get an abortion. If you don't want kids, I think my issue is with people who quote unquote abuse it. Like if you have 7 abortions, like I kind of have a problem with that. Like now you kind of being irresponsible about it. Like I am for abortion. Like if you gotta get an abortion, but I think there needs to be some level of responsibility too.
I get where you're coming from, and there is definitely people who do abuse that system.
No.
But it's not more per se abusing that system. It's more of like they're placed in a situation where either their partner is making them get pregnant, or they're either like influenced by drugs or factors, and like they don't really know where to get proper preventative care at.
Gotcha.
So then you'll see a lot of stuff like that happen. And also, like, abortion isn't, like I said, you just going into a clinic. The way that most people could figure out like what abortion could be or define it is if you miscarry, basically is an abortion. Like a miscarriage is your body naturally aborting it.
Right, Remy.
I feel like the problem with, I guess, human beings is that we can, I mean, anybody, anything on the planet can have a baby by accident, right? There's a lot of situations where you can ultimately create a life without the intention. I mean, it's just,
it happens.
It's gonna happen. There's so many circumstances where you can create life by accident, and life is a huge responsibility. It's like I'm, as a whole person, all the shit that I've been through up to this point and all the shit that I had to go through, ultimately that affects the world. And to a degree, I guess my parents were responsible, at least up to a point.
Yeah.
And people that are around me are, they have to deal with that. It's a lot to just happen by accident.
Yeah.
So abortion is the only control that we have for fucking accidental life. Because humans are fucked up in general. Humans are fucked up across the board.
I agree.
And for so many of us to just be showing up by accident, and that's just the way things should be. That doesn't make sense to me.
It's
not in modern society. It doesn't make sense.
And it's not to say like if you do have like a oopsies baby that's not a mistake. Like that happens and they're cherished very well. But it's like if you have an oopsies baby and you're not ready to have that baby, or you don't have the means to have that baby, you don't have somebody to help you with that baby, then it's perfectly fine. Like that is fundamentally something that could help your fetus, like it could help your pregnancy. One of the things we tell moms too, that you mentioned, like when you were saying like it has to be at least a responsibility at some point. When a mom comes into our hospital, say for instance they're having like 6 seizures all in an hour, and we have to get them up to like the CT scan, and that we all know probably x-ray, all that radio waves is really bad. It's really harmful for baby. But if mom's not stable, mom's not good, there's no baby.
Right.
That's point, period, blank. At any point, any pregnancy, it's always mom first. Because if there's no mom, there's no baby.
And that's the thing that pro-life people kind of just disregard, is that the mom's life is more important than whatever this is, whether you want to consider it a baby or whatever. The mom's life is the most important, but they want to disregard that, and that has to be considered.
So do men have a right to know? No, hold on. Let me finish the question.
I'm with you right
do
now.
Men have a right to know if the woman he's sleeping with gets pregnant? Think about the question. Does a man have the right to know that the woman he's sleeping with gets pregnant? Not have an abortion, gets pregnant.
Okay, no, I'm ready. I was ready. This is something I was anticipating. So, say if you and your partner, there's a lot of like situations, but I'm gonna go with you and your partner have been together for a while now. You guys are having casual sex, and you get pregnant. I believe truly if it's you and you're comfortable, have been together from day one, you guys are about it, y'all been riding together, then yes, you do have the right. But you do not have, the man does not have the right to tell you if you should or influence your decision.
That's a different question.
It's
a different question.
But they'll get to it. They don't have the right to influence your decision to keep a baby or not, because the purpose of women's rights is women's. Why would a man tell you?
But that's a different question.
Okay.
We'll get there.
That's a different question. So, answer the question. Does a man have a right to know?
They do.
100%.
Well,
I mean, depending.
It depends. They do, if you, like I said, in the situation that I'd explained, they do have the right. If you've been honest with them, it's always been blatant on that, then yes. But if it's like circumstances where you're just hooking up, like you're a college student, you're just, like they say, you hook up, it's one night stand. No, they don't.
I disagree. Go ahead, Remy.
I think it's all about the kind of communicate. Like, okay, so every relationship, including a relationship where you're just having sex with a woman, she gets pregnant, requires some form of communication. So if you meet this woman and y'all have sex, and then you never speak to this woman again, you don't have the right to find out if she's pregnant. You don't have the right.
I understand that.
You never follow up.
Or
it's not your business because you don't want to know anyway.
How about this?
You know what I'm saying? Now, if you do want to know,
now, if you never follow, if you being an asshole,
if you ghost somebody,
then that's one thing.
Then you get ghosted on the pregnancy, bitch. That's how I go.
Or how about this? Let's spin it this way.
But if you're communicative like you, Jay, I know how you are. So you are communicative. You wouldn't necessarily just leave a bitch in the dust like that. Obviously, you would want to know.
Because here's the flip side of that, right? Let's say we all just said, okay, if he just disappears, he doesn't have a right. But let's say the woman decides to keep the baby, and then 25 years later, she shows up saying, "Oh, you got a son or you got a daughter." Well, why didn't you tell me back then? And now, I owe money. Child support or whatnot.
So I tell you, usually that happens because the kid wants to know. Like the kid kind of gets to a point where they're like, "Well, I want to know who the fuck this motherfucker is."
Yeah.
Since you've been talking shit about him all this time, like whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for her, it's like, well, all he did was provide a seed. There's nothing else that I need from him. And it is what it is. It's not even
providing the seed at that point. It's just you wanting to have sex.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not you providing the seed.
Right.
The concept of you having sex and getting pregnant is so stigmatized in sex that you can't just think that you want to have sex for pleasure.
Right.
Because you consent to sex, you don't consent to pregnancy, and nothing is 100% when it comes to sex. Like condom can break.
So let's go to your question that you were talking about. Do men have a right to know that a woman's getting an abortion?
It goes back to what.
Sorry. Should a woman tell a man? I phrased it wrong. Should a woman tell a man that she's getting an abortion?
It goes right back to what Remy said. If it's like, you one night hook up, whatever, then no. Like if you ghost them, like no. Right. But if you're like in a relationship with them,
if there's still communication happening after said conception, then I feel like absolutely you owe that to him to like let him know, like. Or
you probably don't even need to owe that.
Now you don't necessarily have to get his permission.
Yeah.
To abort. You know what I mean? But you have to.
Okay, let's talk about it.
I don't
think a woman needs anybody's permission to get an abortion. That's just how.
No, fuck that. She needs. No, I'm playing. I'm joking.
I thought about this before. I remember I used to think like, okay, if my girl got pregnant and we don't necessarily want kids, I don't want her to get an abortion, but I can't decide for her where her life is and what she's ready for. I've been in situations where, I've been with women and they thought they were pregnant. Yeah. They were like, my fucking life is over.
Yeah.
Well, because
that's just how they feel.
It's usually when you get pregnant, your life does become over, right. And you're basically rebirthed into a whole new person.
Yeah, because the life you had prior to that is definitely.
Yeah. And I respect that, and I understand that, especially like as a man, I'm not the one that has to carry this life. I'm not the one that has to bond with this life in that same way. I mean, most men usually can just be like, no, I'm good. I'll just throw you some money and mind my business.
And then that's the problem right there that comes about where we have fathers or men who say like, I'll give you money and then I'm now a provider. Mm-hmm. That's not what a provider does. Right. Like my daughter's father gives me money, but he is no provider. I'm the provider.
Yeah.
So you can't really say like, oh, but you owe this person this. In reality, you have to look at everything. You have to look at the whole. How is he going to help you through the process? Mm. How is he going to help you after the process?
Yeah, I don't think a man does not have a right to try to influence a woman's decision about abortion.
It's women's right for a reason.
The very first time I had sex, the woman I had sex with got pregnant.
Oh,
and I was fucked up for I was honestly, I was not ready. I was 20. I had just turned 20. Like I'm making $11 an hour, if that, maybe $9 an hour. And I'm just like, man, but I was aware enough to know that it was her decision. So she decided to have an abortion.
And I bet you felt relieved.
And I was happy. Yeah. I was thankful that she did because I was not ready. But I would have stepped up to try to be ready. But obviously it was her decision. right? But I was like, what do you need from me? Huh?
You were how old?
I had just turned 20.
Just turned 20.
I just turned 20.
Couldn't even drink yet.
I remember
Bruh, I
my,
was messed up. I didn't have
my
sex for like
first
2 years
chemical
after that.
pregnancy. Whew. I was a 16-year-old high school kid.
Oh yeah.
I was in a very abusive relationship in my high school years, right before I met Randy,
Mm-hmm.
with the father of my child.
Carry on.
And I was always
To the mic.
forced to have sex without a condom, even though I didn't want to have sex
Right.
or just sex in general. And I remember my period not coming for at least 5 weeks, and then it finally came, and I was so happy because growing up in a Hispanic household,
Yeah.
they value men in general, like at a higher pedestal than they do for women.
Right.
So I would have been kicked out the house at that point.
So that's a good segue, actually, that you talked about having to have
So
sex.
wait,
go
so
ahead.
So the end of that story is that you got an abortion.
No,
Or
I
you,
had
or you weren't pregnant.
it was a chemical pregnancy. So a chemical pregnancy is when you're pregnant, but within the 8 weeks of conception,
Mhm.
You get your period. So your body naturally just
Okay.
deleted
It's
the
like your body
fetus.
was like, no, I'm getting an abortion. I'm
Well,
not fucking with this.
yeah. I mean, there's
This is
also a
not
lot
what
of
happened.
factors into that, but yeah, chemical pregnancy is usually when you drop within the first 8
Chemical
weeks.
pregnancy. That's a new. I
So
haven't
let's
heard
say-
that before.
So let's say a woman does not want to have a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's in a relationship, and she's like, "Hey, look, I don't want to have a baby, but I'm not getting my tubes tied." And the man doesn't want to have a baby,
Okay.
but they still want to have unprotected sex. Should the man get a vasectomy, get a snip,
I think
and reverse it, right? Don't want a baby, don't want to have an abortion, but want to have sex.
Then use the proper term because it's not a vasectomy.
What's a snip?
It's
What's a snip?
A snip, if you snip it completely, it's a vasectomy.
That's what I'm talking
But
about.
we also have this thing for men called vasovectomy, where
I ain't talking about that.
it's
okay.
reversible.
Ah, gotcha.
So that's the reversible.
Yeah,
vasectomy.
I believe that's the proper term.
What is it called?
I think it's vasovectomy.
Okay.
There is a term for it.
I would totally do that.
But
Where it
I
can be
mean,
reversed?
if you really
Hell yeah.
think about it, any type of tubal ligation,
It's got to be some kind of issue, side effect towards it or something. Though.
no.
Probably not. I mean, there's no side effects to a vasectomy. Vasectomy is free.
I mean, no, a vasectomy, like I'm saying, nothing is 100% because you can still get pregnant off of vasectomy. You can still get pregnant off of tubal ligation.
yeah, if you got some fucking
That's one
fuck
of
it.
the
Like if your
risks.
sperm is like the niggas from 300,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? She gonna get pregnant. It just is
Your
what it
sea
is.
monkeys are in, they just gonna, they're
They just
swimmers.
like no,
you
it's
got shooters.
Mm.
gonna be babies up in this bitch.
So no one should just wear a condom. Is that what y'all saying?
I think at that
I don't
point,
like condoms,
you
dog.
really
Nobody likes condoms.
We should get rid of condoms entirely.
if
100%.
you really don't want to get pregnant
And don't want to do birth control.
and you don't want to do birth control, you don't want to do condoms, you don't want to take any preventational methods, you shouldn't be having sex. That's that. Because the risk of
Yeah.
you just having unprotected sex at that point is high. And if neither of you are wanting to change that, you should not be having sex.
Yeah.
That is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to have sex, I'm all for it. Like if you want to get raw dog, get your fucking coochie licked, I don't give a shit kind of shit,
Mm-hmm.
then go for it. But if you know and he knows
He ain't gonna
and
pull
you
out.
both know
He ain't pulling
you're
out.
not doing that, then you guys should not be in the situation where you guys could procreate
Yeah.
at that point.
Stop fucking people who gonna give you babies that you don't want to keep.
But if they're
That's the-
fucking you good, keep going, sis.
Yo, no, listen, don't listen to her. Stop fucking people
Nope.
who gonna give you babies that you don't want to keep.
Mm.
No. No,
So-
sis. Keep going.
Unless he's got a vasectomy, then by all means enjoy yourself.
I
Listen,
mean,
man, some of the best sex I ever had was a woman who had her tubes tied. Woo!
Ooh,
Woo!
can I ask
It
one
was so
question?
Let that
good.
shit go.
It was so
Let
good.
all that
Can I
shit
ask
go.
one question? though?
Uh-huh.
Since we're on the topic, when it always comes down to abortion, it's always down to, it's the woman.
Mm-hmm.
Why are men so scared to get theirs clipped? Why is it always the woman? Why is,
Men are big babies,
why
first of
is
all.
it the wife that always has to get the tubal?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I agree. It should not always be the wife.
It always falls back down onto the woman. Why is it
Well-
not the men?
Her body, her decision, right? Like,
And that's another thing
Yeah.
too that I'll get into, but But why is it always the wife has to get her tubes tied? Why is it never the man that wants to go and do it?
Yeah, I don't agree with
Is that something that
It's very
It is
common.
common.
It's very
Yeah.
common.
How many men you know get a snip?
Or how
Well,
many men
very
are
few.
not up to the standard of
Of
getting
doing
a
it.
vasectomy?
It's very few.
Why is it something you see? Okay, and this is the standard where it comes from. We get pregnant.
It's an
What do you-
expectation.
okay, I got
What
you.
do
I
we
have an
get?
argument.
Our
I have an
punishment is to raise a child, but
For
what is
sure.
your punishment? You guys could do reckless abandonment.
argument.
I agree. I agree.
Here's why I think men have difficulty with a vasectomy, because
You got babies.
because
That's
men
part of it.
can have children as soon as we hit puberty. The rest of our life we can have children.
Yeah.
So that means if we have vasectomies, if we say, okay, maybe I don't want kids in my 30s and I have a vasectomy, well, what happens when I'm like, I
55.
don't know, 55,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, I could probably have kids with this one, but
Mhm.
you got a vasectomy. Now,
Mhm.
the reversible thing, I feel like that's a game changer. I didn't even know about that. And I feel like more people need to know about that.
No, yeah, a lot of people don't know about
But
it.
women
Yeah,
can't have
that-
kids
That's birth control.
after menopause, right? So
After menopause,
I mean,
yeah.
there
Women get up until about,
There are cases
from, like,
where they
yeah.
can.
of
It's
course.
not ideal.
But it's not ideal.
Yeah.
It's not
So
ideal.
women kind of get a natural cutoff. Men don't never
Yeah.
get a natural cutoff, so we have to choose to get a cutoff. And most of us, I feel like
men
lot
are a
of
little
us,
selfish when it comes to that, for sure.
if you don't want children, though, you should definitely choose. But the problem is, part of, I think what you're kind of getting at is that since men don't have the same responsibility to deal with children that we do, we don't really feel like it's necessary
Mhm.
to get a vasectomy. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, even if I do have a baby in this situation, I got money, I can pay for the child and just live my life. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot
But
of
not
these
a lot
Yeah.
of people would do that, though. Not a lot of.
No,
there's
I
a lot
agree.
of people that
Even
don't pay
still.
their child
Even
support.
still, yeah.
I mean, but that isn't a case in itself. That's a whole separate topic about the dynamic of relationships.
Relationships, yeah.
But there's a lot of cases where they don't pay for child support, and they're in a
Mhm.
situation
Mhm.
like this.
Mhm.
It's like that one meme that I
I
saw
pay
on
my child support.
Facebook.
I don't know what y'all talking about. All my
I
kids
ain't
are paid
paying
for.
I don't
I ain't
got mine
paying
on
shit.
child support. that's a whole can of worms that
Which population of women do we think will be affected by these abortion laws that will be adopted or created by states? For example, hold on. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill into law earlier this week that bans abortion after 6 weeks, which is typically before a woman knows she's pregnant.
Super.
So, again, which population of women do we think will be affected by these abortion laws
It's
the most?
definitely gonna be Black and people of color. Definitely.
And poor people of
Any
color.
minority that doesn't have access to preventative healthcare, insurance, computers, anybody that's technically just not at that level of any type of, like, what is it, middle class?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a class thing. And because there's more people of color who fall below the middle class than, say, your traditional whites, then more of us are going to be affected. But at the end of the day, to a degree, more of them are going to be affected because there's more of them. Does that make sense?
We know what's
More
crazy
people.
though
There's
is
more white people.
the,
But they
cra-
have
the crazy
more-
thing is
There's
though,
more
white
white
people were getting more abortions than any other demographic,
So-
and that's the real problem that all these laws are coming from,
Right.
because the white population has been decreasing.
And I
Right.
could see
So
Yeah.
I heard that the reason that white folks, not necessarily just white folks, but like Republicans push abortion so much, aside from just the idea of, oh, the babies, we need to save the babies. That's bullshit. The
Yeah,
reason
that's
that they do
bullshit.
it is because it's about white people maintaining the majority population.
Trying to maintain it,
Trying to maintain the majority population.
but they can't.
And as long as there's poor whites not having babies or aborting or whatever, then that means that the other, groups are able to continue to thrive and have babies and expand. And the more that happens, the less white people have control over this country.
And it also plays a role in racial disparity in healthcare
Mhm.
a lot.
Mhm.
When a white
for
woman
sure.
comes in, you see it a lot that they'll tend to them.
Mhm.
But God
Mhm.
forbid a Hispanic or a Black person comes in with pain, they think they're
Mhm.
exaggerating. So
100%,
it's
yep.
100%
Yep.
racial disparity in healthcare that a lot of people don't wish to talk about.
I agree.
That happens firsthand.
I heard,
which is why white people are the highest demographic for opioid overdoses.
I am telling you, I'm gonna write a book on it because I experienced it firsthand as a student.
We ain't gonna say where it is, but she works in the worst hospital in.
I don't think I work in the worst hospital.
So let me play this clip for y'all really quick. I think it's very spot on to what a lot of these people who are for these abortion laws sound like.
What are your thoughts on the Roe v. Wade being overturned?
I'm against abortion.
You're against abortion?
Yes.
There's been some talk with some people saying we need to protect life. The sperm that's the seed of life. So would you be in favor of all males who are not married getting vasectomies?
For 30 years straight.
No.
And what about you?
To each their own.
Clarence Thomas said yesterday maybe we should take a look at the same-sex marriage ruling. Is that something you think we should look at as well?
What do I think of gay marriage? I don't believe in gay marriage.
You don't believe it? You don't think that 2 men and 2 women should be able to get married?
Keep listening.
Would you like to see them reverse the decision?
Yes.
And why is that?
Just how I was brought up, and that's how I believe.
And you mentioned it a couple times. To each their own, right?
It is up to each their own, but
to a point.
Everybody should have a respect in their own biblical sense.
So to each their own, but you don't want gay people getting married, and you don't want women choosing what to do with their body.
Right.
How does that make sense?
I'm sorry, but
that is what these people thinking. That's what they're thinking.
To be fair, these look like the most redneck people I've ever seen in my life. This dude ain't never been out of the sun.
But these are the people.
This bitch got a Trump 2024 shirt on.
Christian person who has to have Christian beliefs brought onto me.
Yes.
Or Catholicism.
Yes.
Catholicism's out there.
These are the people voting for these people who are in office who overthrew Roe versus Wade. Right? This is what we're dealing with.
I mean, these people put Trump in office, and he's the one to put the judges in there, and that's how that shit got. I mean, I've always said this. The reason that Roe v. Wade got overturned is not necessarily because of people who supported Trump or because of Republicans. It's because Democrats don't participate in the process. Because Trump lost the popular vote.
So that's contrary to what you just said. You said Democrats don't participate, but he lost the popular vote.
Right.
So we do participate.
But we don't participate enough. Unfortunately, the system is rigged against liberal values.
In county elections.
Yeah.
They turn up for presidential
General
elections.
election,
Turnout is amazing for that. Yeah. But when it comes down
even then,
to residential elections of the county, all of that is where the turnout doesn't happen.
Right.
So let's keep moving along. We got a couple things to discuss in a little bit of time. So based on this clip, I was going to say, I feel like people against abortion are really only against it because of their religion or how they were brought up. How else could they expect a woman who was raped and gets pregnant to have that baby? So do y'all feel like religion plays a factor in these people with these rules who are only holier than thou on camera?
I think religion is just an excuse.
Let's face it.
It's reality.
Religion has caused the most death in general.
Don't get me started.
Since historical time, we have.
Let's talk about the Inquisition.
The fight for Jerusalem.
Let's talk about the
Jerusalem. The fight for
the Crusades.
We have a lot like the Crusade. We had in the Exodus, where God Himself mass sterilized and killed others' children.
Let's talk about Noah's Ark, man. God was like, hey, fuck all these people and just whoosh, just water everywhere. Fuck everybody.
Religion is one of the most violent things to have ever happened to mankind.
Yeah,
I mean,
religion is wild.
Spirituality has always existed, and then based off spirituality, religion has come to the forefront. But there's evolutions, revolutions, and things come and things go.
Yes.
But government is supposed to have a separation of church and state.
But it doesn't happen.
And does not. And it does not happen in America.
Not at all.
It's not like
we pretend like we do, but
it wasn't even in America. It happens in Europe. Like when we had the King of Spain, the king or queen, because we've been in the monarchs in England. It's been something set up, and they try to play it on, God is this thing. I'm not a God person. I'm not religious like that. I do believe like there is a higher power.
You
but,
saying
like,
you're not a goddess? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, I'm a fucking goddess. I believe that God is a woman. Shout out to Ari.
I actually believe that God is a woman. If there is a God,
I'm very much into the universe. What you put in, what you get back.
Mm-hmm.
The goddess and all that. The moon in itself, because I'm a Cancer. But let's face it, religion has been the number one most profitable thing that has killed people since historical
somehow we got to
time.
get religion out of our
it's
policies.
Never gonna
Out of
be
our
out.
policies.
The
problem is there's nothing wrong with spirituality. There's nothing wrong with feeling connected.
And there's nothing wrong with religion at all.
The problem is when you start trying to use that shit to control people around you.
Yes.
You start, especially if you become somebody who gains some form of power.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, now all these people have to do what I say.
Yeah.
Because I am the holy one or whatever the fuck it is.
Or why is it that it's your God that's
there's many
that's
different
more
types.
important than my God?
Yeah. I agree.
I don't think, and that's one of the biggest things too when it comes to healthcare. Because I work in healthcare. I can tell you, I've worked at a nonprofit hospital that's a Catholic church where women have to get approval to get their tubes tied, and I work at a profit hospital where it's like upcharged so damn much.
Wow.
And you know, for them to get their tubes tied, they have to go through Medicaid. It's a whole fucking process. It's ridiculous.
Well, our healthcare system is a joke.
You mean to tell me that it's difficult for women to even get their tubes?
Yes, it is. No, it is 100%. If you go down to a Catholic church,
like that's
or a Catholic hospital,
religion,
getting tubes tied and vasectomies and contraception, those are the ways to prevent abortion. Those are the good ways to prevent abortion.
You would have no idea how much women's health is heavily tied to.
That's why women need to run this country.
100%, which is why I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Men have been running this country for too long. They don't know shit about women. We've been trying to tell women what to do, and then enough of us have brainwashed some of them.
I agree.
On the Republican side, they're like, yeah, fuck it. No,
all right, let's keep it moving. Keep moving. So I feel like people against abortion are. No, I did that part. So hard life decisions, right? Obviously, abortion is a hard life decision. Are there any other hard decisions in life outside of abortion? Let's pivot to other life decisions that are hard.
What's the hardest decision you had to make in your life?
So the hardest decision that I've had to make in my life, and I tell everyone this, I wrote it in my books. I wrote it in both of my books, actually.
I got 2 books.
You do? I'm gonna read it. What you're gonna have to tell me after the podcast, because I read books.
The first one is called
tell them what the book is. Yeah.
The first one is called The Unbelievable Truth.
Okay.
A Guide to Finding Your Peace.
A guide.
A guide to finding your peace. And the second one is called Noesis, empowering the God within you. But they're both self-help.
Okay.
You all right? Hey, shout out to Noesis. That's my book.
Empowering. Yeah. Hey, and for me, it would be The Goddess.
And let me just say, I love Jay. I bought it, but I ain't read it because I don't read it. but I see Jay every week, so I feel like I'm getting Noesis all the time.
So the hardest decision that I've had to make in my life, and I think it's really a hard decision for a lot of people, is deciding to move from all that I knew. Right. So I moved at 30. I'm 41 now. But at 30, moving to Florida was the hardest decision that I have ever had to make. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have a family here. I didn't have a job here. I had $1,000 in my bank account. I just knew I was miserable and I had to go. But I was scared. It was hard. I cried in my apartment. I was leaving all my friends behind. But it was the best decision I ever made. I tell people, if you are unhappy where you are, move.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Move.
And the beautiful thing about that, so it was you. So you reached a wall where you were, and you were like, I have to change something. And if I don't change something, who knows what's gonna happen? And it worked out, and it's been good for you. Like that's your testimony.
100%.
Imagine if there was a group of people who was like, no, people are not allowed to move. I'm anti-moving. I'm pro staying at home.
I'll be mad as
pro staying where the fuck you come from.
I think there is a lot of people that do that though.
They tell you not to move?
Yeah, that do tell you.
Tell you stay in your hometown.
Trauma comes from a lot of areas. It comes from family, religion, It comes from healthcare. It comes from a lot of things. So you'll see
Life.
All my trauma
Life.
comes from my fiance. She beats me.
So where you be like where you can't move could probably be like where you can't move because you have brothers and sisters that rely
Oh yeah,
on
family.
you.
Yeah.
Hold
Or
you
you
back.
It's
can't-
difficult to move when you want to stay close to your
can't
family.
move because your mother is sick. There's a lot of things that tie into that. Me personally, leaving my mom was the hardest decision ever because my mom, shout out to people who live with hoarders because my mom suffers from really bad hoarding. And me leaving 6 years ago has been really rough on my mom.
Yeah.
And I still think about going back.
Is your mom?
But you gotta choose you.
Yes, that's the hardest
100%
thing.
choose
Is your mom an immigrant?
My mom is. I am a first generation American.
Where you from?
I feel like
Your family from?
My family's from El Salvador. I claim that I'm from
El
El Salvador.
Salvador?
she's El Salvadorian.
I'm El
El
Salvadorian.
She's my
Salvadorian.
favorite. She's the only El Salvadorian I know.
Man, we got to go to El Salvador.
Common, but in
Yeah.
Tampa, they come.
So not to completely go off topic, but is there do you think there's like a commonality of like immigrants?
Is there a correlation?
Immigrants potentially, not all immigrants becoming hoarders, but I know another person who was like an immigrant and she's a bit of a hoarder. Is that like I guess
I
you
think-
moved to this country,
I think
you bring your kids here, you raise them in this
I'll let you
environment,
go
and
first
they
since you're
you know what I mean,
immigrant.
they thrive or whatever, and then they kind of leave, and you're like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
I can't speak for other families, but for me personally, when my parents came here, it was really rough on them that they don't talk about it often enough.
Rough. What was rough on?
Like them coming here because they talk about like the coyotes and all that bring them here, and they can kill you, rape you.
The process of getting here
because my
was
parents
stressful.
came here through
Okay.
land, and when my parents came here, like my dad and my mom, my dad was born in 1963, my mom was born in 1970. So them coming to America was a lot easier than it is to come now. But the process of them still coming at that time was just still as hard as it is now.
And nobody talks about the trauma of like
But being raised,
uprooting your entire life to a whole other country.
being raised from family that came from a different country to America in itself is very hard, especially for me, because I had to be raised knowing that I had to provide for a man. I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to cook for my dad. I couldn't participate in sports.
you had to grow up fast.
I had to grow up fast because by the time that I knew, I had 3 brothers and I was the only girl. 12 years later, here comes my sister, and I had to raise my sister. A year later, I had to raise my son. Well, I call him my son. I call both my younger sister and my brother. And a lot of it resents from that too. Why I didn't want kids, why I don't like my younger siblings is because I had to raise them, and I was only in the 8th grade.
You feel like you already raised some kids.
I already raised kids.
Yeah.
I didn't want kids. I hated the idea of wanting kids. I hated my parents for making me raise them because I couldn't play sports. And God forbid, the one time I made the soccer team, it's, well, women can't play sports. You have to come home and do oficio.
There's definitely a different
So-
demographic with Latino.
And you see
Hispanic
that
people.
a lot too, going back to what our original topic was when it comes to abortion. Hispanics don't believe in an abortion because of religion.
because of
That's
religion.
true.
Because
Catholicism,
they think,
right?
Yes, I was brought up Catholic. I am not part of the Catholic Church anymore. God forbid if I'm ever in that. My daughter is not religious. If she chooses to be religious, then I'll support that because I never had the choice to believe in choice.
Right.
It's always I had to provide for a man.
Right.
But let's not go back down that road.
But the decision of life choices is again historically brought up to how you were raised racially.
And that is a hard life choice, having to pick your life
You
up.
were
and-
raised from the islands. Guess what?
Yeah.
You breaking out from your family trauma tie comes from the islands.
So going back to the hoarders thing, your question. I think being a hoarder comes from 2 things mainly.
You're poor.
One, you come from being poor
Yep.
and having to, when you start to get to stuff, you just hold on to stuff. But I also think people have traumatic experiences in their life,
Yes,
a death or
100%.
something. So they lost something very important to them. So they hold
Mhm.
on to other stuff. But anyway, back to the question. What is a a major life decision for you that's been really hard? Something else. I said moving. We talked about moving. What's been a hard life decision in general, or maybe not even for you? It could just be something else that's hard in general.
Actually, I have yet to complete what I feel is going to be my hardest life decision.
Wow.
Because I am a fiance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rhonda, my OG though.
I am a fiance, and I'm getting married next year.
Wait.
That was on my notes too.
I didn't even know.
You ain't know I was getting married next year?
No.
I will be getting married. You knew I was engaged.
I knew you were engaged.
Yeah, we set a date. Yeah, we set a date for next year. So for me, relax. For me, marriage is, I mean, as a man, I don't know how Rhonda feels about it, but I know for me, I feel like it's going to be the biggest transition I think in my life.
150%.
But weirdly not, it's gonna be different in my head, but it's not gonna be different physically because we live the life of a married couple. Like I love Rhonda, and even though we fight or whatever, this is where we're going. So once we get married, we're just married. But once it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
It's getting through the honeymoon stage.
Well, they're already past the honeymoon. They already passed the honeymoon.
Nah,
they've been together for over a year, so the honeymoon is over.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a different process. I think it's over. It's a different process when you're married because they say the first 3-4 years is the hardest part.
When you get married,
I don't know
that room that y'all in.
Mm-hmm.
When you get married, you lock the door.
I feel like
the door is locked now.
Yeah.
We can't leave. The door is locked. The only way we getting out of here is if we call somebody else, a lawyer or somebody to get us out.
Too, because of my daughter. I feel like
a kid is a whole ass.
Certain people I can't do certain people.
I would say for you that had to have been your most difficult transition.
Yeah, that was it is still one of my difficult decisions. I mean,
I know you struggle with it.
I love my daughter. I love her. I'm not going to say this. Okay. I love my daughter. I love who she is, who she'll be, what she'll accomplish. Yeah. All of that. But if I had the decision, if I had not have found out I was too far along in my pregnancy, I would have aborted her. I would have aborted her.
And I think that's one of the bigger. I actually put in my notes I put down.
And that's a lot of things that moms don't realize because moms, they go on social media and they talk about how life changing, how beautiful the process is. But I'm one of those moms that keep it fucking real. Going through childbirth, going through the pregnancy itself was hard. Going through childbirth was hard. Raising your kid on your own is hard. Having your child on 100%. Your own is hard. Having a fucking child in itself is just one of those things that no one really preps you for.
Listen.
And that's my honest opinion.
Well, that's what I said.
Listen, as soon as my child scratches my TV,
abortion.
I think a lot of the thing is too that women see how some of these white women, because it's mostly white women that they post what they show, like how their journey goes. And the reality is not all of America has access to that.
Right.
And I'm not going to say it's only minorities. There are also white women out there who don't have access to what these women with money have.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say for sure that
was mine.
Choosing whether to have kids or to not have kids is a very hard decision. So here I am, I'm 41 and I have no kids. And I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy with not having kids. However, in the back of my mind, and I just got comfortable with that decision. But at 35, 36, I kind of still wanted to have kids. But making that decision, do I try to have kids? Do I still want to have kids? That's a major hard life decision to make. And I'm okay with it at this point. But I still always say, I never say never, because I might date someone who's in their 30s who want to have kids. But I think having kids or choosing not to have kids is a hard decision for a lot of people, because now if you get 70, 80 years old, you're like, what the fuck I got leaving behind?
Now,
I think you should definitely have kids.
What is your stance on
I shouldn't have kids, but I think you should.
Now, you talk about having kids, your own kids. Now, what is it like if you were to date someone who has their own kids?
I try to only date women who have kids that are older at this point in my life. Like, okay. I try to avoid women who have kids under 10 years old. Like, it's just something I don't want to be. I need someone who can be spontaneous like myself, someone who can get up and go. So at all costs, I try to avoid it. Now, they're 19, 20, 21. I don't care. At that point, they're grown adults, right? Mentally, they may be younger, but
Or are you talking about like the kids,
the
or
kid, the teenager.
Okay,
the
so you would want to date somebody
whose kids are older.
So you wouldn't like say that, for instance, you meet someone and they have like a toddler. You wouldn't want to pursue something in that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's
but
a lot.
Say you know shit happens and you.
I try to be open. It really depends on how dope the woman is. If she's a dope ass person, then that's something you try to consider.
So this you gotta understand.
Because
hold on.
Oh,
What's that? Go ahead.
As a man, especially without children, and who doesn't necessarily know that I want to have children, if I deal with a woman who has a child, as soon as we get serious, I have a child.
Okay.
Like automatically, because those. And as a matter of fact, I my sister is kind of going through something like this. She kind of was dealing with this dude who he kind of just like they clicked or whatever, and it was whatever. But because he clicked with the child that she's taking care of, who is her nephew at this point, right now, or whatever. But because they clicked, her and him clicked a little more. But it's not gonna last. Like they have already kind of gone their separate ways.
Yeah.
But she's still latched on to him because she sees him as like a potential, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot, the dynamic doesn't work because he's that's not what he's about. He's not there for her I guess for lack of a better word, her son. He's not there for him. He's just there because they click. But then him and the son get along as well. And she saw that and she likes that.
Yeah.
And it creates this weird triangle that he doesn't necessarily want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Say like you look at me and Evie. You know how we get along really well?
Yeah.
Say that somebody like that, you know, they're down for their kid and they're down for you. They're down equally. Would that have been something that would tear people apart at that point? You say you could connect with someone you think who's dope, but you see that, you know, their kid comes not necessarily first, but the priorities come at their kid.
Yeah. It's a lot to take on.
It's a lot for a man to think of because, again, they could leave you at any time. But when it comes to me, I find someone that, you know, potentially likes me and my daughter, and then they're like, no. And there you go again. So, like you say, you know, as a man, you could do it, but you don't think of as a family. You don't think that if it was your kid, it would be something different.
It's hard dating a single woman who has kids and you date her seriously. And
that comes from it. A lot of abortions.
And you get into that relationship and you want to become a father figure for that child.
Because
but
a man
she
wants
doesn't
to be a
allow
father
you.
figure
She doesn't
to their
allow
own
you.
kid.
Doesn't allow you to be a father figure because she's used to doing it by herself the entire time. It's just weird. It's just weird.
Not all women are like that, though.
I understand that. I'm telling you from my experience, though.
Oh,
that's what it has been.
But that's
which I understand.
I understand.
Like for her, it's like
that's all they've ever known.
Right, but also for her, she's setting boundaries because she doesn't know if you're gonna be there indefinitely or not anyway. So if you start to be around her child enough and this child takes to you or whatever, then that's a problem.
I think a lot of it comes when women set boundaries, they're set as the aggressor because they have higher standards or not even higher standards.
Well, you should have boundaries around your kids.
I think a lot of it comes from they see what they know, what they want for their kids, and they know like what type of man doesn't already do that. But when the man sees that and they think it's high priority, they bail out. And so it goes right back to the factor that men don't have as much responsibility, or they'll think men have more responsibility to their own seed as opposed to other seeds. And that's why foster care is such a hard thing to go through, and it's why it's so expensive. But nobody wants to talk about that.
That's on another podcast episode. So what's some other hard life decisions that we have to make? Like I think about like career changes, right? Like changing your careers later in life is a hard life decision because you've been doing this all these years, and yet you know you're unhappy in this field or this industry, and you want to make this change, but you ain't got no experience in this. We got bills, you got a family, right? But you should make that hard. You should switch careers. There's never too late to change careers if you're going to do what you're going to make you happy.
So I've been witness to someone I love who was doing one thing for a while, and then it wasn't working out, and they changed and did something.
What up, Daphne? In the comments.
They changed and they did something else, and it was cool for a while, and then it kind of just fell apart. So I
think that's the beauty in life, though.
Nope. I have
a
phobia at this point of like changing careers, because I know that
so much responsibility falls on you, though.
What you mean?
Like, you have a lot of responsibility, which is why you have a phobia about trying to switch,
right? Because it's an easier decision to stick where I'm at, where I know that at the end of the day I'm gonna have a paycheck. If I do this other thing, or if I try something different, paycheck ain't guaranteed. It ain't guaranteed that I'll be good at this.
Who gonna pay these bills?
That's
real life, though. That's real life.
I could contest to that. Yeah,
that's why it's a hard life decision.
I asked you recently. I said, "What is your ultimate career goal?"
Okay, I said that I wanted to marry a doctor because I don't want to work. Which means
you're down to change careers.
I am down to become a house.
Nobody wants to work.
But I work as a surgical tech first assist / surgeon assistant, which in my case, I have a more unique goal or job compared to most. Is I work and operate under my attending surgeons or doctors' work. Right. So most techs won't deliver babies, but I do. I work with a certain group. I work with a certain amount of doctors.
Yeah.
My original goal before becoming a mom was to go to med school. Med school isn't off.
It's harder.
I need to wait for my daughter to be older. It's delayed.
Naturally, what happens when you have children, everything is
my
on
end
pause.
goal is still to become a doctor. Right now, I'm doing something I like. I love what I do. I'm not a doctor.
Yo, but Gabby's like, but if I meet a doctor,
but if I do meet
and
a doctor,
he marries me, then it's
one of my toughest choice was when I got pregnant. I was in school for biomedical sciences. I was on the pre-med track to go study for my MCATs. I got pregnant. I knew that wasn't feasible. It was not ideal what happened between me and her father. Right. And I had like really bad breakdown, and I had to take a break from school. So instead of finishing my bachelor's degree that year, I had to wait 2 more years. I finished that. I didn't finish with the best GPA, but I managed to salvage it. But I couldn't apply for med school because I wasn't going to get chosen for med school. So I chose the best other thing that I thought I would love, which was, I knew I wanted to work in medicine. I wanted to do surgery. So I just decided to do the surge tech deal. And I just so happened to got I got lucky when I went into my surge tech. I got my experience, and then I went back to my first assist school, which was another 2 years. So now I work under the surgeon's discretion. I fall under their license. Right. So even though I'm not a resident, I'm not a doctor, I work as one. But I don't claim to be one.
Right. But you got a taste. You're getting a taste of it.
I do get a taste. I love what I do.
Do you still want to be a doctor now?
I do. Yeah.
And you gonna do it. All right, we gotta keep moving though. We gotta keep moving.
Yes, I am.
We got a lot.
I believe in you.
I'm a trooper.
So two more things. So what are 2 other hard life decisions? And then we're gonna dead the message and move on to our other segment. Any other hard life decisions that y'all can think of? So I would say renting versus buying is a hard life decision, especially in the climate that we're in right now with the mortgage rate being extremely high. It's going down, but inflation is still up. Yeah. And
they say buying is always less expensive, even in this market.
But could you afford renting. Your roof being replaced?
No,
exactly.
That's why I ain't got a motherfucking roof. I live in a condo. Listen, buy a condo. You ain't got to deal with none of that bullshit.
That's what I'm looking at right now. So, but that's a hard life decision, especially if you have kids, right? Like you want a bigger space, but everyone can't afford it. The American dream of owning a home and having it is very slow. It's like it's hard to achieve right now,
Yeah.
right? Like depending on how much money you make.
Depending on where you at. In Florida is hard.
In Florida is hard for sure.
I think gotta go to the bathroom.
That's fine. Go to the bathroom. That's fine. Go ahead. We'll keep it rocking. Keep it rocking. Keep it rocking.
Keep it rocking. I'll be back. I'll think about letting.
I think
So when you decided to buy your condo,
I got lucky.
Was it a hard decision for you because to go from renting to buying?
No. Well, so when I purchased my condo, circumstances kind of just pushed me into it, which, and I believe Ed tells the same story. He was just like, it just kind of happened.
That's true. He does.
I got to the end of 2020. We was in the pandemic, and the place that I was renting was like, yo, just so you know, we're going to raise your rent $300. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why would you do that? Mm-hmm. And that was before all the rents were just, going up.
Yeah,
it was like, why? And they wanted to renovate for whatever reason. And I was like, well, I'm not going to pay y'all $1,500.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what else I can do. I still want to live in the area. Let me see what else is out here. And then I was kind of like dabbling in the idea of buying anyway.
Yeah.
So because I was entertaining it, obviously it just kind of kickstarted my search or whatever. Found something that was perfect. You know what I mean? My girl liked it, and I was like, "Fuck it, I can afford it. Let's fucking do it." So it's less of a hard decision once you feel like you can afford it, and that's the difficulty.
That's true.
That's the
true.
difficulty in this market is because everything is so Because I'd like to get I want to get a second property, but I don't even know how I'm gonna do that in this market. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I gotta wait like
I look at it homes every day because I'm, as you know, I am in the process of trying to buy a home.
Yeah,
the prices are coming down.
Yeah,
the problem is the interest rate right now. So we'll see. But I do think that's a hard life decision for people who desire to be traveling a lot or expats. It's like, do I rent? Do I buy? But with the way rent is pricey right now, you almost have to try to figure out a way to buy.
I also kind of feel like when you do get to the point where you want to decide to buy, you kind of have to figure out, okay, am I going to be in this particular place for a while? Like that was my thing before, why I never purchased before. Now is everywhere I lived, I didn't live there for more than like maybe 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So now that I've been here for like 10 years, as soon as I live in a place for 10 years, and I'm still living here, I'm like, okay, well, I might as well fucking buy a house.
Might as well buy a house.
But it sucks that that's the mentality because it's like I could have bought a house somewhere else years ago, and houses were so fucking cheap 20 years ago. Like I was making, I came out of school and was making like $60,000. I could have bought a fucking house when I lived in Austin, Texas. Yeah. If I bought a house in Austin, Texas back at that time,
rich right now.
Yeah, that shit would be worth something.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like. It sucks that we don't have like the mentorship or people to let you know, like obviously just if you got it, fucking do it.
Yeah.
But I got laid off, so that's
it worked out. Decision in my case. Out. Yeah.
So how close are you to being able to purchase at this point?
Here's the problem with any of this is like if you don't have a lot of money saved up for down payment costs and closing costs. It's almost, I ain't gonna say it's impossible, but it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm at a place where I need to get scored just a little bit higher in order to qualify for all the down payment assistance programs.
Right.
So that's kind of where I am. But we'll see what happens. All right, man. We're gonna move on because we're at an hour and 15 minutes. So we got to keep it moving because this is not a 3-hour podcast. It's not what we do. So we're gonna keep it pushing, keep it rocking.
Pushing P.
So thanks for hanging out with us. Please share and tell your friends about this podcast. Not much.
Daphne said just do it now, Jay. I know, Daphne. That's why I'm gonna come and live with you for like 2 months. Give me like 2 months till October. Like I'm gonna do the knacker. For that. I've been asking Daphne. She'd be like, hell nah, Jay, fuck you.
She's smart.
You be out on the street.
She's smart.
Man, no, like just give me to October. All right, we're gonna move on to the method lessons, man. We're gonna move on to method lessons. Method lessons. Obviously, there's so much more we can talk about with hard life decisions, but we are going to keep it going. Let me find your clip though. Hold on. Let me find your clip. Where's your clip? Bam.
Reading is fundamental. Now let's get on with this school thing. You teach.
Don't listen like you know what that's from. You don't know what that's from.
No, it's not. But
That probably came out the year you was born. So Method Lessons is a segment where basically we talk about something we learned, preferably from the podcast. But I mean, you know, if you ain't learned nothing from the podcast, then just talk about.
Well, what
just
did
talk
you
about
learn?
life.
Well, ask me about stuff. Maybe you
I learned. What'd you say
something.
earlier? You said something earlier that what was it? It was like statutory abortion. I don't know. It was something.
Oh, about the different type of abortions you
Yeah.
have.
No, it can't be her method lesson. No.
But ultimately, Method Lessons is about just sharing some information that you know, like
Okay.
something
you learned. Since this is your first time on the podcast, it can be something you learned from this year, this week, this podcast, anything that you learn that you want to share. Think about it. Remy, you go first.
So, I learn shit all the time. So I'm gonna share with y'all my most recent lesson. So it's gonna be a word.
Okay.
Let's
get it.
Do you know what a cohabitationship is?
100%.
What is it?
A cohabitation
cohabitationship
is when two people decide to cohabitate in a house without being married, without being in a relationship or kids. Like, you know what? We're gonna have a carrot. We're gonna be parenting.
So
together.
it's like that place that you're in where you're not married, but you're living with this person, and that is like your life. You're just living with this person. Kind of like how a situationship is like you're attached to this person
without
in
the
some
drama,
way,
though. Without the
shape, or
drama,
form, but it's not really a relationship.
Yeah.
And a cohabitationship is kind of a similar vein, except you're living with this person, and you might be living with this person because you know what I'm saying. You can't afford a whole rent. You gotta, you know what I mean. You don't want to pay half the rent, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then I asked myself, am I in a cohabitationship? No, because I'm engaged. But if I wasn't engaged, technically I could be like easing into cohabitationship territory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everything you do has to be about what's the next move, how do we progress?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is, I mean, sometimes
I've actually considered cohabitating as being co-parenting for someone. This is when I was like, 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was like, hey, she approached me. She was like, yo, you're a good guy. You're attractive. Good genes. You doing your thing.
Country thick is what he's talking about.
Would you be open to the idea of being co-parenting? Right? What do you think? Kind of a cohabitation.
Wait, so are you saying that you were gonna have a baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought about it, but I was like,
why you ain't do that?
Because she ain't want to pay me my money. I think about it. I ain't gonna do it for free.
Pay you your money to be a co-parent?
100%. I mean, I'm still gonna be there, but I don't want to have kids.
Okay.
So if you approach me and want to have one of my kids,
wait,
you got to pay me. 100%.
Oh, I misunderstood.
So, but anyway,
I misunderstood.
I think there are a lot more people doing cohabitating situationships than people want to acknowledge.
Yeah, so that's a cohabitationship. When you live with somebody, and ultimately you don't know where this is going. Maybe it's going nowhere, but you still live with this person, and you just kind of just ride it out.
That sounds like
I've
misery.
been thinking about that recently. I've been in a few of those.
Yeah. What have you learned this week or this 2022? We are in 2022, right?
Oh, also, just real quick, you know what a penetrationship is?
A penetration.
I'll let y'all figure that one out.
Are you buzzed? You keep rubbing your forehead.
She did drink by
which
half
means
that
you're
bottle.
like,
I did.
damn, you did.
But I'm trying
Hey,
to think,
shout out to our drinkers in the world.
because I'm trying to think what I did learn.
Did you learn anything at work? Like every time we talk, you be telling me some wild work stories, and I'll be like, "Holy shit!"
I am learning new things, but mostly like life lessons.
Yeah.
Like I come home and I write down like anything that's significant that I feel like happened to me. For instance, we had a mom come in the ER who delivered a 16-week fetus. I call it a baby already because she birthed her basically.
16 weeks. That's 4 months.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And
is that even considered like premature? Because that's like
no.
way
Well,
early.
We don't call fetuses viable unless they're
right. Those are the
like
abortions.
20 weeks.
That's an abortion.
20. Well, she miscarried. So yeah.
Right.
We don't call fetuses viable until like after 20 weeks, and 20 weeks is like, but down in the ER, they don't really know how to work with babies. So they tend to send them up to us. But she delivered immediately when she got there, and they kind of just left the baby like in a bucket. Didn't bother to wrap the fetus up or anything like that.
So what did you learn from this?
Well, let me get to it. I mean,
long story short,
I kind of want to hear the long story.
We ain't got time for the long story.
It taught me how to be a little bit more kinder.
Oh,
because
I see.
I was the first person I picked up. I was the first person who picked her up, and I was the last person to take her down in the morning. So it taught me a little bit of kindness, because in healthcare we tend to look at, well, I can't say we because I don't. I like to treat everyone, but no one bothered to wrap this baby up. No one bothered. They just placed it in a bucket.
Wow.
And for me, it just made me think, like, how can I approach patients and their babies a little bit better? And it's, how can I be a lot more kinder while I treat them? How can I be a little bit more personal? How can I be a better healthcare provider?
Yeah.
And
because she's gonna be she's gonna be affected for a while.
And I really don't care if the mom decides to look at it or not. But the mom didn't, so I was legit the only person that
saw it,
that cared for her, even though she was dead.
Yeah,
that happened this week.
Yes.
Yeah. See, every time I talk to you, you hit me some wild
I'm
shit.
not gonna lie. Like, my days in OBGYN, like a lot of people would say, it's like, you know, it's nice, it's happy, but it's very traumatic, especially since I'm so young and I'm still learning. But that would be what I learned today, was to be a little bit more kinder, because you never know when stuff like that happens. And it ended up being me who had to walk this baby down. Ended up being me being the first person to swaddle it and to show it a little bit more kindness, even though it was never alive.
Well, that was good on your soul to do that.
I think,
for sure.
yes, I am in that chapter of my life where I'm soul searching for more
consciousness elevation.
I think, yeah.
So I learned this week that a lot of people don't know the answer to this question. Where was Usher at 7:00?
On the top with his drop top something.
Where was
I know the song.
Where was Usher at 7:00?
In my drop top, cruising the streets.
There we go.
And he had a real pretty little thing that was waiting for him.
And I know it because I think it came out it actually came out in 1997, but I do know the album.
So
this is one of the few songs I could definitely do for karaoke. So I know
for sure. So NPR is doing a Black Music Month, and Usher was the first one to go. And if you have not seen his Tiny Desk concert, you should do it. But where was he? I'm in my drop top, cruising the streets. Hey, I got a real pretty little thing just waiting for me.
Obviously, he's out getting a Plan B pill because he knows what's going on tonight.
Was Plan B even around at that time?
Yeah.
No.
No.
But today he'd be getting a Plan B. And some liquor.
So yeah. So
and it's $6.99 at Costco if you have one.
Go and watch it. Are you a fan of Tiny Desk concerts? Have you ever watched them?
I haven't watched them.
Oh man,
I appreciate that kind of thing, but I don't.
You have got to go watch the Tiny Desk concert.
I've heard his was really good.
His was really, really good. I'm a fan of Tiny Desk concerts.
I don't know who that is.
NPR, National Public Radio.
Yeah.
Right. They have podcasts. They have radio. They have music. They have all kinds of things. But they've been doing a series for years called Tiny Desk Concerts.
It's kind of
where they're
like
behind a desk and they have full performances.
It's kind of like how MTV used to do Unplugged, except NPR does it and they call it Tiny Desk.
I guess I don't know. I never watched Unplugged.
Yeah,
but go watch Usher's his Tiny Desk concert. It was really good. He did an amazing job. He is a legend for a reason. I don't think Usher gets enough respect.
Usher.
They always say, right now the big talk is Usher versus Chris Brown in a versus.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
So
I did see that.
Who would win, Usher or Chris Brown?
I'm 100% for Usher.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I
you
love
don't like Chris
Usher.
Brown?
I never really liked Chris Brown, though. I can't even name
I think Usher
Chris
by
Brown.
far.
What?
Usher by far is like a better singer, and I feel like
he's a better singer.
He's
not a better dancer though.
Not at all.
He's a better singer.
He may or may not.
I never thought Chris Brown was a good dancer.
He's a great dancer.
He's a great dancer.
Chris Brown's
a great entertainer.
Chris Brown dances like
guess I'm on
background
that
dancers.
anti-Chris
Like he be
Brown
doing some
or
wild.
They, talk is Chris Brown is the king of R&B in
Anybody
modern
can do
day.
a fucking backflip.
Yeah.
I don't know if Usher can.
I don't know, but I did know that he had herpes or something like that.
Wow.
Oh Jesus.
Wow.
How you gonna praise
Facebook.
Usher and shit on Usher in the same.
So, did everyone go? I think everyone go. Daphne said so much truth. We all have to be kinder to everyone.
Yes,
100%.
we do.
All right, we are going to move into the last segment, Mr. Remy Mulatto. You gonna switch? The unnamed artist. Unnamed artist is what we're moving into, and we're gonna be all done, man. So, unnamed artist is basically when I play. I'm gonna play 3 songs.
Oh,
okay.
God.
But here's the good news. You ain't gotta do no guessing. You ain't gotta do nothing but listen for about a minute.
I got vibe.
You gotta vibe.
I can do that. G.
One song is the champion from the previous week. In this case, the week prior. We didn't have an episode last week because your boy was on vacation. And the other 2 songs are challengers. After 3 songs to play, you just decide which song gave you the best vibe.
Okay. Oh, I like
Simple
that.
enough.
All about the vibe.
This is also at the point in the show where Facebook may mute the rest of the podcast
They don't get
because they don't like you playing loud music. So this might be the end for y'all. But if it doesn't go mute, go catch the rest of the episode on Spotify, iTunes.
We do this
everywhere.
We do this
come week. Saturday. All right. So here we go. This first song is the champion from last 2 weeks ago called Break My Soul.
Ooh.
Fill your drinks up. Fill your drinks up. Let's go.
You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul.
I was saying back when this came out, I was saying this
you won't break my soul. I'm telling
like the pro-choice anthem.
It's a remix. Yeah, true.
Right? Especially with the bullshit going on right now.
But also, like, who doesn't like house music?
It's a remix.
Like Drake just made that basically music.
It's trash. But right now, Break Your Soul.
And quit your job.
Foundation. Yeah.
And I'm on that new vibration. I'm building my own foundation. Yeah. Oh, baby, you won't break my.
All right. That is song number 1, champion for 2 weeks in a row. Here is challenger number 1, song number 2. The song is called Addiction. Song number 2.
Maybe it's the love, the drugs, the weed, the pussy. Maybe it's all the above. Maybe I don't need a hug. Maybe I'm just fucked up. Maybe Maybe it's the love, the drugs, the weed, the pussy. Maybe it's all the
You know who it is, Remy?
Maybe I don't need a hug. Maybe I'm just fucked up. I wanna have more threesomes, but you're so territorial. I can't even kick it cause you're watching my story though. I got what you seen and I got something you don't need to know. I done gave more dick than a little. I know I'm the reason that you're freaking out. You wish you could be the reason that I settled down.
Hey.
You done gave me all I wanted, but I still got reasons
Let's
to
go.
fuck around.
Let's go.
Maybe it's the love, the drugs, the weed, the pussy. Maybe it's all the above. Maybe I don't need a hug. Maybe I'm just fucked up.
That is song number 2. Challenger number 1. The song is called Addictions. No guesses on who it is?
I have no idea.
Wow. Okay. That's why it's called Unnamed Artist. But I ain't gonna tell y'all until afterwards. Also, you can find these songs on the Method Music playlist on Spotify. All right, here's song number 2. Song number 3, Challenger number 2. The song is called On My Shit. Oh, that's not it.
That's the same
I was about
song.
to say.
I said copyright.
That's not it.
One of them gonna sue the other one.
Well, I can't find it. Hold on. That's funny. Here it is. Song number 3.
I play the outfield, that's usually humbly watching, no, not today. Put a disclaimer out, cause I'm on my shit tonight. They never saw the side of the moon, asking me questions like, where'd you go? Put a disclaimer out, cause I'm on my shit tonight. Your friend, she looking nice. I know that's your friend, but she looking right. So let's go with your friend, you and her tonight.
Hey.
I'm on my shit tonight. I'm feeling filler glass, and I let no split pass. I'm about to holler at a quick fast. Time flies, did that, these facts. A couple minutes of the chit-chat. You tryna parlay or get back. I told her straight I'm tryna hit that. Cause she was
on my shit tonight. All right, that is song number 3. Challenge number 2. It is time to vote. It is time to vote. Gabi, who you voting for? Song number 1, song number 2, or song number 3?
You know, I have to go with B.
You gotta go with B, huh?
With Babe, Queen B.
Well, Remy ain't gonna go for B.
Because
so
I like house music.
If you like house music, you should come out to my event this Saturday. But it's Afro House, so Afro House, Afro Soul House. Remy, who you voting for?
Song number 2.
What was it?
Song number 2 was Addiction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Song number 1.
I got a lot of
You
addictions.
ain't on your shit.
On My Shit was song number 3.
He ain't on his shit.
So song number 2 is Addiction by Brent Fayez. All right, so I guess I have to be the tiebreaker, and I will go with song number 2 because I just like it better than Beyonce. I like Beyonce.
Beyonce got whooped.
She got whooped. But remember, you can change the votes, method heads. You can vote on Spotify for the song that you like the best. You can go on there, song number 1, song number 2, and song number 3. Right now it's 2-1. If you can go on there and vote and choose it, you can change the outcome.
So you don't like Drake's new album?
No. No.
I'm still undecided. I'm a huge Drake fan, but
I like his album.
You like it?
I do.
What song you like?
What is it? The
Jimmy Cooks.
Jimmy Cooks is dope.
It's the actual like. Is it Mamacita or something like that?
Don't ask me. I don't even know.
I don't know it, but it's the house one. It's the house music.
All of my house, other than like 3 songs.
It's like the one in the middle. I have to look it up, but I'll be like,
all right,
You
man.
playing the album, just vibing on. Yeah,
I do.
Where can people find your information? If you want people to find you on social media, like to reach out to you, then
like, don't
that's
find
okay
me.
too.
Don't find me.
Oh, Remy, what's our? People can buy merch now,
You
right?
can find me at Gabi GABI_XO, and maybe or maybe not, I'll approve you.
On where? On what platform?
On Instagram.
Say it one more time. Gabi.
Gabi, GABI_XO.
All right. What's up, merch, man? We got merch now, y'all. We got merch.
There is a Method Podcast merch. If you go to a humble website called A Method Podcast Store, that is AMETHODPODCASTSTORE. I'm not gonna spell that again. A Method Podcast Store, and we got like anything you can want. We got t-shirts, we got tank tops, we got fucking
cups,
other stuff.
Yeah,
there's big.
Cups.
I went on there,
we're drinking.
I misunderstood cups.
Cups, because we're drinking.
So next week we're gonna have a new environment.
We're working on a new environment for y'all.
And I went back to the store and I was like, yo, they got coasters? I ain't seen no coasters. So we ain't got a Method Podcast coasters. We got everything else you need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're working on some new things, man, for going forward. We working, man.
Yeah, man.
With that being said, you can actually be a monthly subscriber to a Method Podcast.
That's true.
Go on anchor.fm.com, go to Method Podcast, and be a monthly subscriber to help us keep this shit going on.
Gabby, I don't know if you know, but this is a legit podcast.
What's the topic for next week?
We don't know yet, but we're going to get there.
I like that.
What's your socials?
Listen, if y'all don't follow me already, y'all ain't going to follow me. So I'll see y'all when I see y'all.
100%.
Right, follow at A Method Podcast everywhere we at. We on all the goddamn platforms.
You can follow me on TikTok because that's really the only place you're gonna find me as a public page as DJ Noetic. Remy, you know what? They say drinking gives you the liquid courage to be and say how you really feel. We say M stands for
mostly.
E stands for
everybody.
T stands for
talking.
H stands for
honestly.
O stands for
over.
And D stands for
drinks, motherfucker.
And
drinks.
That's what we call a motherfucking method. Until next week, holla.